God damn it, Donut. Hello. Hi, everybody. Who's here? Who do we have for book club today? Hi, Stellar. Hi, Kiv.
Welcome.
Hi, Indoril.
Of Doom.
Edge, thank you for the follow. Hi, Edge. Welcome in. For anybody that is just getting here, I should put this on the timer as well. That link is, if you'd like to join our Discord, we have a dedicated channel for book club in there. So anybody that wants to participate and join in for the series as we kind of go along, you can follow that link, join the Discord, and then I can give you the book club role so that you can see pings when we specifically have book club stuff going on. Well, that's okay, Edge. St. Jude Summit is a crazy time, so I totally get it. I'm gonna do this one's gonna be a rough run, but my plan is that I'm gonna actually upload these to my YouTube channel. So we're not gonna play music or anything while we're doing book club, so that hopefully I can just upload the raw VODs to YouTube, so that if anybody misses VODs on Twitch or can't join us for a live session and wants to go back and watch them, we should be good to do that on YouTube. I don't know. We're gonna figure it. We're gonna learn together. But welcome everyone. I do have an ad running right now. I just noticed, so I'm gonna repeat a couple things here in a few seconds when that's over, and then we're gonna get started. Adge, have you already read the Dungen Crawler Carl series? I'm very curious to know. Welcome back from the break. You got D&D, and also you hate Dungen Crawler Carl. Perfect. Perfect. Then good day, sir. That was fantastic. You're like, also, I hate that book, but hi, bye. Fantastic. Have fun at D&D. I hope you die. I hope your character dies a horrible death. I hope you all get dysentery. Yeah, this is the perfect stream for Adge. Okay, so I know we had a few folks that said they were going to join late, and I know that we have some folks that weren't going to be able to make it today. We will work on getting better scheduling for the next few sessions and see how we can tighten that up and how that goes. Thank you very much for the support, and also I loved this book. Spoiler alert, so you can I would say your opinion's valid, but it's not, so that's fine. Thanks anyway. I should probably figure out adding chat to the overlay, because I just thought about for the VODs, folks are not going to be able to see the chat recap, so note to self for future sessions. Dozens. There's dozens of you. Oh my. You are the majority. I would be curious, when you have time, maybe on a future session, we could chat about what it is that you don't like about Dungen Crawler Carl, because I am very curious to know, everybody that's in the book club that's read it so far, you know, what everybody's thoughts are. I did drop a note in the Discord, by the way. Anybody that's in book club, if you're in the channel and if you would like to join me for voice chat while we kick this off, so that I'm not just talking to silent chat, you can jump into the general voice channel, and then I will pull you into the stream voice channel here in just a moment, and then we can get started. But yeah, for a preface for anybody that's just joining, like I mentioned before, you can type Discord in chat at any time and get the link so that you can join the Discord. There is a dedicated book club channel and role there if you would like to join us. We are just now at the halfway point of book 1. Dungen Crawler Carl is currently an 8-book series. It will be 10 books by the time the series is complete. But I'll let you know sometime. It's a long list. We'll join the Discord, Adge, and then put your list in the book club channel so that everybody can bully you. It'll be perfect. But yeah, really, I've never done a book club before, by the way. So this is, I don't know if there's like a format for book clubs, but we're just going to wing it and see how it goes. Yes, everyone can hate you. This is the way, Adge. This is the way. But I really wanted to read these books and I wanted to have folks to talk to about it. And so I said, screw it, I'm going to start a book club. So I started a book club. But I know I've always wanted to do a book club too. And I've just, I don't touch grass often enough to have that happen organically. And a lot of the stuff that I read, I don't know, it doesn't feel like book club material. And I'm not a romantasy girl, which I think with book talk being as popular as it is, that's what a lot of folks are doing for their book clubs lately. But in my research about the Dungen Crawler Carl series, I found out that there's a whole bunch of people that just started book clubs specifically for this series, and actually pretty recently. So it seems like we are just riding the bandwagon wave, but that's all good. I first heard about this series last year while I was at San Diego Comic-Con. There were a lot of people that had, you know, shirts or were talking about the panel that was going on, or just general conversation about how much they love the books, and that there was a graphic novel coming out that is going to follow along the story of the books. I had heard from a lot of people that the audiobook specifically was like an absolute work of art. I did go through book one via the audiobook, and I have to agree that it is absolutely amazing, in my very humble opinion. But I kind of got some interest around it last year, but I didn't get a ton of context as to like what exactly it is. And I've never read a lit RPG before. I'd never even heard of that like category genre of books. So this is all very exciting. I'm excited to chat with everybody. Okay, I see Stellar is in Stream Voice, so I'm going to go ahead and pull Stellar in. For Kiv, if you would like, you're more than welcome to join us in voice as well. Stellar, can you hear me? You might be hearing me twice if you're hearing me through the stream and in Discord, but... All right, Kiv, I'm going to pull you in as well. Are either of you speaking? Because I'm not hearing you in Discord at all. This is an outrage, Carl. Oh, why, thank you. Thank you, lady. Hi, Avron. Well, Avron, I understand you've got the baby. If you would like, you're more than welcome to join us in a voice chat in Discord. Otherwise, you're here in chat, and that's all that matters. Checking again. Kivrin and Stellar, are either of you speaking in Discord? Because I am not hearing anything from either of you via Discord. I do have that channel turned up. You hear Kiv. You two are talking, but I'm not hearing you on stream. Are you guys hearing me in Discord? It's the Roadcaster. So let me change some things really quick, and then we can get this fixed. You cannot hear me in Discord. Okay, so I think it's my Discord settings then, which is easy enough to fix. So let's pop in and fix that really quick. We're doing it live. All right, let's see here. We've got voice and video. Well, these are actually set to the correct settings. But instead, let's say microphone is fader 1. And let's say that speaker is... Speaker's on the right channel. You can barely hear me now. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Well, I'm still not hearing either of you, but the routing looks correct. So I think what I need to do... Well, that's cool. The Roadcaster broke. What else is new? Am I not showing in that channel? Let me reconnect.
Oh, there you are. Can you hear us now?
Hey, there we go. Oh, well, hold on. I'm muted.
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah, for some reason I had to like leave and rejoin the channel because it wasn't showing me in there. Okay, Stellar,
Okay.
I am hearing myself come through my stream through your mic.
I muted it, so
Okay.
I don't think you should be hearing it now. Sorry
Okay,
about
cool.
that.
Nope, you're good. And then I'm going to adjust you down just a tiny bit. And then Kivrin, you can hear everything okay?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, great.
Hooray! And I see it coming through on stream. All right, see, we did it live. Look at that.
Yeah.
Huzzah! Oh, yes, and I did put a spoiler chat warning. So for anybody that's joining that isn't part of the book club, maybe you just popped into stream because we're live right now, or you're interested in hearing about the book, but you don't really feel like reading the book. We are discussing chapters 1 through 28, which is part 1 of the first book in the series. If you have read past that, or if you've already read this series in the past, please don't share any spoilers. I'm going to try. I've actually finished the first book, so I'm going to try really hard to remember like where part 1 finished so that I don't say anything to spoil it for anybody that's not caught up. I know that Avron isn't quite done with part 1 yet, so Avron, sorry if we get into anything that's spoilers for you. You're going to duck out. We thought you popped in long enough to say hi. No worries. You just got to keep your stream streak live. I get it. Wiz, I will be back in a couple hours for separate stream. We're going to do Elden Ring tonight. So I'll be back for regular stream in a little bit. But I'm so excited to talk about this fucking book. I've been dying. I finished the book like 2 weeks ago and I was like, I want to talk about it.
I know, me too.
It's so good.
It's really good. I wasn't suspecting to like initially just because I don't really typically read books like this, but
yeah,
I really like it.
For this being a genre I wasn't really familiar with, I didn't really know what I was getting into.
Yeah, same.
But I had heard enough people talk about how much they liked it, and a few people that like know me pretty well were like, I think you would really like this. I watched a couple of interviews that weren't really spoilery, but with Dinniman, the author, and I was like, oh, his vibe is 100% like what I'm here for. I was like, yeah, I'm locked into that. He gives no fucks. I found a really cool thing. So today I was looking for some like cool little art to theme up the stream and everything. Thank you to Wiz, by the way, because he actually grabbed this iconography art that we have on the overlay just so that we could be a little on brand. But while I was looking, I found a Reddit post from Dinniman for a bunch of folks that were asking him like, hey, we love the series and we'd like to make merch, and a bunch of people sell like fan art on Etsy, and he actually went to go work with his team to create a free license so that if you are an independent artist and you don't use AI to create your art and you're not a mass corporation that's going to print and make this stuff for like large profits, they have a free license that folks can actually apply for so that they can like legally sell, because he owns the IP. That's the interesting thing I found out about the author, is like he is an independent published author, so he has a distribution deal with Random Penguin House just for allowing more reach for his books, but he owns everything outright. And I thought that was really awesome. I was like, that's super cool of like an independent author to also like want to support independent artists. And it benefits him too. And he's smart that the more merch that's out there and the more like fever pitch that builds up around the brand, obviously the more people are going to go read the books. So I just thought that was like a really cool little thing that I read, that I saw. And it was a post from him like directly in like some subreddit around DCC. So I was like, that's cool. But yeah, so I am very curious how far
God damn it, Donut.
is everybody in the book so far? I finished book 1. I haven't started book 2.
I finished book 1 and haven't started book 2
Okay.
as well.
I only got up to part 2 just because I was worried that like during discussion I would spoil stuff ahead. So I'm like restricting myself.
Same.
So
I was fighting
Yes.
really hard not to start book 2 because I was like, I just want to keep going. But also if I get too far ahead, I'm going to get really confused when we all like check in for conversation. So one of the things
going forward, we could just do it by book. If all of us are just so interested,
yeah, I was going to gauge the peanut gallery after today and see how everybody feels about that. I did notice that some of the future books get quite a bit bigger than the first book. So it might make sense for like keeping track of what's happening to do it in smaller pieces, but we like chat more often so that there's like less time in between the chunks. But I'll throw a couple options out there in the channel and like we'll kind of figure it out for like folks that want to stick with the series, and like if we get new folks that want to join in and like catch up and then kind of go from there. I did the audiobook. I know Avron's kind of doing a mixture of the two, which I gotta feel that's got to be really interesting doing both. For Kiv and Stellar, did you guys do analog audiobook or both?
I did analog, but I'm kind of really interested in doing the audiobook now. I said I was going to do both, but for the first part, I just did analog. I don't know. I really, like you said that the voices are amazing. So I really want to listen to the audiobook and find out myself. I was like, I don't know. I know not everything's about ESO, but I was like imagining like Donut being voiced by Clarissa Laurent. Like, I don't know, just kind of that snooty voice almost. I was kind of thinking of does she sound like in the audio?
You're not too far off. So Jeff Hayes is the voice actor that does all of the books. I've already kind of spoiled this a little bit in the Discord, and a lot of people talk about this, especially folks that have already gone through the whole series. This first book came out in 2020. So this book's like 6 years old now. I don't know how long after the book came out he did the voice audiobook for it, but he took a very specific inspiration for Carl, and it sounds like Kronk. like
smarter than Kronk.
He's literally doing a Patrick Warburton impersonation. For the voice. Yeah, not his personality, but his delivery is like 100% Joe from Family Guy and Kronk like had a baby.
Bad, though. That's not bad. I love Patrick Warburton.
I don't dislike it. It is distracting. So sometimes I get pulled into like the Kronk isms of his delivery. But what I found out is that by book 3, he like evolves the voice so that it's kind of its own thing. So he is like a gruff, because he's 27. He lives in the Puget Sound area. He's former Coast Guard. He's a bit of a gym rat. So he's kind of like a gruff, buff guy. And I could see that that's where Jeff was trying to go with his like initial take. But he's talked about it in interviews too. He was like, I did too much of an impersonation and not making him his own persona. I will say every other character doesn't remind me of anything else in particular. Like he has absolutely unique delivery and voices for everybody. And I saw he does live cold reads. He switches characters in like linear, like all at the same time. He doesn't record them separately, which blew my mind because he's doing like 20 different character voices.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's nuts. So if I go back go question. No, go ahead.
Are you doing analog or are you doing audiobook?
I'm doing the audiobook. Yeah. I'm just doing the audiobook.
I did analog. I read it on my Kindle because it was free with the Kindle subscription.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Free if you have the Kindle subscription, you can get the whole series for free right now. They were also running discounts. Amazon was doing like buy 2 get the 3rd book free. I think Books A Million always has like some good discounts going. and I think I saw, maybe it was Audible. I had a bunch of points already like banked on Audible. So I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and use these and grab the first, 4 or 5 books. But I think Audible was doing like a deal as well. So it's such a popular series right now. You can find good deals on it. And a lot of people have actually also found it on Libby. So
that's what I'm going to try to do with the audiobook. I'm going to try to check it out via Libby through like my local library or whatever. But yeah, I definitely want to listen to the audiobook. I'm surprised this isn't a series. I feel like this would be a perfect series, like, a TV series. But
it's going to be a TV series. They just announced it like 2 days ago. Yeah.
Oh my God. What timing?
So, yeah, Seth MacFarlane is going to be developing it. He's developing it for Peacock. I have
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, so the guy that created Family Guy, and Ted and a bunch of stuff. I have some concerns because
is it going to be animated or is it going to be live action?
So the story up to this point has been that it's supposed to be live action. A lot of fans of the series had a very similar reaction to you, where they want it to be animated because the budget required to pull this off live action in a way that is going to do it justice is probably more than Peacock's going to spend.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And apparently MacFarlane was recently developing a TV show for Ted. I didn't love the Ted movies, so I was like, okay. But they canceled it before it even came out because the budget was too high. Like, it was too expensive.
Oh my God.
So I already have
set up for failure.
Yeah, I was like, I have a lot of concerns, but they could pivot. They might pivot. Matt Dinniman is actually involved because, again, he owns all of the rights to this. So he is involved in the development. I don't know to what degree or exactly what his rights that he's handing over or sharing or developing with Peacock. Like, I didn't read any of that yet, but it'll be a couple years before that even comes out, And I think he said that the last book / 2 books, because it's going to be book 9's the last book, but it's going to be in 2 parts because it's going to be so big. I think he said that's expected to come out in just a couple of years. Like, he's not going to pull an R.R. Martin and we're going to have to wait like 18 years to get nothing, so.
Well, thank goodness for that.
I learned a new term. Apparently he's called a pantser, which is somebody that doesn't plot out their books ahead of time and just writes by the seat of their pants. And that's how he does it. He just sits down and just starts writing.
I think George R. Martin calls it there's gardeners, which he's like a gardener, and then there's another name for the other type of author who just actually plans everything out.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dinniman did an interview with Maude Garrett, and somebody asked well, okay, if you do that, how do you keep track? And how do you keep straight with, those of us that are gamers or we play TTRPG, we know that the dungeon itself has so much world building and rules and regulations and how skills work and how he defines and lays out all of that. And then your whole cavalcade of characters and your story arc and all of that. So he said he's just got a shit ton of spreadsheets. Which I like. I was okay. Yeah, I was like, how do you keep track of that?
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the fact that the first book came out in 2020 and he's already up to book 8, he's knocking these out at a really good clip, which is great for the reader because you get your next fix in a fairly short period of time instead of book series that have decades that go between the first book and the next book and the next one, especially when it's world building and there's so much going on. I am curious though, so through the first half of the book, so if you've read ahead, try not to think about anything that happens after, basically they get sucked out of the staircase because that's right where part 2 starts. Who is your favorite character so far and who is your least favorite character so far?
Can I go first or?
Go for it. Jump in. Oh, this is open to chat as well.
I guess it changed a bit. At the very beginning, I was kind of really annoyed with Princess Donut, but then I quickly grew to love her, and now she's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
And I really don't have a character that I dislike. I guess there's 3 that I dislike. Frank and Maggie, for obvious reasons.
For sure.
And then Agatha, I guess. Agatha, that crazy lady, she was driving me a little nuts during that whole battle. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's her deal. What is she doing? So
Yep.
yeah. But
Yeah.
like, I really don't dislike any of them, I guess. But at the same time, it's mainly been just Princess Donut and Carl for the most part. It hasn't really been that intense with other characters as of right now. Other character like two characters that they keep mentioning, like Carl's dad and then Miss Beatrice.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're gonna get meet them later on. I feel like we are going to, but who knows? So that should be interesting if we do meet them.
I really hope Beatrice is dead.
Yeah.
That bitch, like, God, I don't want some like surprise book 6. She lived the whole time and here she is. Nah. I hope that bitch was asleep in Hawaii when the world got squished and she's fucking dead because she's a piece of shit. She's not a good person.
I want some closure though for Miss Princess Donut.
I want confirmation that she's dead. That's my closure.
Well, if she was in Hawaii or something, how on earth did she ever get back to the States? That's what I was thinking. Like,
well, if she went into a portal, because the portals opened up all over the world. So if she somehow was outside at 4 or 5 a.m., whatever time it was in Hawaii at the time that this all happened, and let's say that she did decide to go in, and let's say she somehow is like continued to survive. If you can remember when Carl's first outside and the big announcement happens that like, we're going to mine your planet for resources. Also, here's this portal and like, good luck. There's roughly 13 million people that choose to enter the dungeon because there could still be people that are alive, especially like on the opposite side of the planet. Like in Asia, it's the middle of the day. So there's probably a lot more people outside that lived, but they may not have chosen to go into the dungeon. So they could be on the planet's surface and we don't really know their status. Like, did they kill everybody? Are they all just fighting for survival? Are they being farmed for resources? I kind of have a theory that some of them, I think, got plucked as the things that are attacking people in the dungeon, it seems.
Yeah.
And then
I just wonder if
Go
people
ahead.
in more temperate and like, just nicer climates, if like, it was an easier choice to stay out, of
Maybe.
the dungeon because, it was nice. I mean, for Carl, it was kind of a necessity because it was freezing.
He was going to freeze to death.
So.
Yeah. And he has no pants.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Avron, I don't know if you're still in chat, but I'm curious, Avron, who your favorite and least favorite characters are up to where you're at so far as well. What were you going to say, Stellar?
I forgot.
Okay. Well, it'll come back to you. But yeah, because like by the time they finish the first day, I think it's down to like 10 million. And then by the time they finish level 1, I want to say it's like 3 million. And then it's either at right at where part 2 starts or like somewhere during level 2, like he gets a check in and it's finally under 1 million. I think the last number I can remember is that it's like 900 something thousand. So it's, people are dropping quick. They're not built for the streets. So they're not surviving. But I did like the way, I think this is probably something specific to folks that are gamers, because somebody that like doesn't have any concept of this genre or doesn't like play a lot of TTRPG or video games, the way that the data dump is done in the beginning of the book, where it's like, here's your tutorial guild, here's, Splinter / Mordecai who's gonna bestow all the rules to you and explain everything. Like,
reading that was so tedious. It was awful.
I can
feel like that was
only imagine. Yeah.
Because it's like at the beginning of a game when you're learning the mechanics and it's like, I just want to do
100%.
this thing, So I think that was almost intentional in a way.
Yeah, and I do think the way he delivers it like is done as well as it can be for this type of scenario. Also, I don't have reference to other lit RPGs, so I don't know how like other ones set that type of a situation up. I will say in the audiobook, it's really easy to like get immersed into it, like you're actually a character in the game and like it's setting up the world around you. So it was pretty easy to like click in. I will say, yeah, I will say my favorite character is definitely Donut. The very beginning, yeah, she's she's a snooty princess, you know, GWR and W, insert other letters here, Princess Donut Queen Anne Chunk. Refer to me as my official name. Like she is, she does give me that Clarice Laurent kind of like snood, but I think it's around chapter 8 when they have that moment where Carl's like, you know what? The only reason we put up with cats is because you don't fucking talk. You're just being a bitch. You're making my life difficult and I need to survive. So like you do you, I'll do me. I don't feel so bad now because you're sentient and can take care of yourself. And he's going to like dip. And she has that moment where she like lets down her show face and she's very honest with him about, I need you. Please don't leave me. I'll behave. I'm so sorry. This is just the way I am. But like, she doesn't want to admit it outright, but like he's her person. She acts like Beatrice is her person, but Carl's her person. He's the one taking care of her and doing all of that stuff. And they snuggle and, you know, all those kinds of things. So, I did think that was an important like moment because it really personifies both of those characters and it takes back one layer of the onion that they're not so surface and there's like a little bit more there. And I can feel like as I continue to read that it gets a little bit more. The way they tease in like the backstory, like, you know, all the ways his dad was an absolute piece of shit to him. And as you start to find out more and more about like the shady shit that Beatrice is up to, she wasn't a good girlfriend and that kind of stuff. Like, I do like how they pepper it in when he's in the middle of a scenario and he has either like a remembrance moment or he's using that to like inform how he's making a decision going forward. Like, I kind of like the way the author like drops that in instead of giving you, here's 30 pages of backstory on this character all at once. Cause I'm getting enough data dump from other things. I don't need that much data dump unless it's relevant to the story. And I kind of like the way that Dinniman did it. So,
for sure.
I have a second. I was gonna say I have a second favorite character though, and nobody's mentioned it yet. But the AI.
Oh, the little descriptions and all the announcements. Yeah.
In the audiobook, it has a very specific voice. Like it's this like kind of robot-y, you know, new achievement. But when we get the nugget that the AI has a thing for feet.
I'm like, oh my God.
I fucking died.
Really?
I died so hard when he was like, oh yeah, baby, squish those slugs, daddy likey. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? It got so wild. But the way that he delivers the voice of it, like, it's so good. Because the AI is very like, I'm doing my job and this is how it needs to happen. And the AI is in control and it's dynamic and kind of changes as needed. But then those moments where it has its own personality and then Carl's just so uncomfortable. And apologies if this is spoilers, because I really can't remember if this is in part 1 or part 2, but he eventually gets that smush skill, which is literally, you know, his feet are more powerful when he smashes things because the AI likes it. And then he's really struggling. I think it's the second boss battle when he's like, I don't want to do this because it makes me feel dirty. And Donut's like, you got to pay the daddy tax. He fucking squishes the bugs with his feet to pay the daddy tax because the AI is like, you know, jerking it in a corner somewhere to it. But oh my God, that was like the funniest shit ever. It's hilarious. I love it. I thought that was great.
And one of the great questions is going to be, is he ever going to get a pair of shoes or pants?
I don't think so.
I'm in part 1, so yeah.
Yeah.
Neither do I, but
I don't think so. Like a pretty...
If he ever does, it will be something like crazy, you know, it'll be something really wild with amazing stats or something, you know, unexpected.
Yeah.
It would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, like pretty early on, I kind of picked up the vibe that like, this is not a static, like the rules are not set. The AI is going to change as needed for the larger picture, which is the entertainment factor, because this is being watched by trillions of creatures all across the universe. And Mordecai pretty early on tells Carl that like the mining the resources on the planet is not the money maker. Like, that's the excuse. The show is it's Hunger Games. You know, we're going to showcase all of you. We're going to snap little clips of you. We're going to take the parts we like, ignore the parts we don't. We're going to make you placate, you know, via interviews and shows and conversations and whatever to win over followers and win over, what do they call it? Benefactors, to help you survive better, but also make the show more entertaining for us. Like, once I got that from Mordecai, I was like, okay, this is definitely going to be something that's like more nebulous. And I think the AI has a lot of flexibility to like change things as needed.
For sure. And I just wonder how, like, I'm just guessing because I don't know. Maybe it's a little obvious, but I feel like, I mean, if I'm right, I feel like he'll only obey to a certain point, and then I feel like later down, I don't know if like it'll be like a couple books down the path, but I feel like eventually he's gonna maybe try to rebel. I mean,
100%. Like, I looked at just the names of the next couple of books, and like book 3 is called The Anarchist Cookbook. So and the author is definitely setting up a world. What I gather is that like the first 3 books are actually primarily world building, and then book 4 is when it gets like crazy and it like really takes off.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to get to the point where we find out who's behind all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Warrant people are and all of that. And
yeah,
I would hope that he's going there. So
yeah, because
I really want to know who the Syndicate and Borant or whatever the company.
Oh yeah, all the behind the scenes players. The Poutine, is that what they're called?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it, but yeah,
I think it's the Poutine
people.
Yeah, but they're the fish Nazis or whatever that are running this whole thing supposedly. But they're just one group, and the Syndicate is like outside of that, because you're picking up themes of, you know, there's the whole moral issue. Like, Carl is a flawed character. He's not a saint. He's not a perfect person, but he very much struggles with, like, he wants to do the right thing. Especially when he runs into the group of people from the elderly, the old folks home with Agatha and all of them. He's like, 100% between him and Donut. He's like, these folks are fucked. Like, they're not going to survive. But he's also like, I can't just not try to help. Like, does that even make me human if I just don't give a shit? Like, he's not Frank and Maggie. He's not out. He's not shady like that. But he's also very aware of, like, this is going to make shit so much harder because this is not ideal. So, like, he has that inner struggle and inner monologue that you get as he's going. And then there's themes of the whole social aspect of it. The whole, like, you need to get followers and benefactors. And it's like, how much do you have to feed into and play into the system for your own survival and benefit? And then you pick up those themes of, like, you know, Mordecai's like, shut the fuck up. Don't talk shit about the fish Nazis because they're listening. Like, Big Brother is always watching. So there's all these folks from previous games or whatever their connection is through, like, the Syndicate and these other alien races and stuff, that they're like, I have to play along because my life is also on the line and I don't really want to do this, but this is the cards we've been dealt. Like, when the whole goblin situation, when he talks to the Shamankans, that's all in part 1. When he's talking to those
and Rory.
Yeah. Lorelai.
I love that.
I love all the fucking secret, like, not so secret Easter eggs and pop references. Like,
Gilmore Girl. Yeah,
it's so good. But like, when he has that conversation with them, and they're like, fuck, we want out, and that's why we do what we do, because we were promised, like, a better option or a better future on a future floor. And they're like, they don't feel like there's any way out. There's no way to rebel against the system, and they just have to play along. It's fucking corporate America, you know. Like, it's a lot of conversation around
more than that. It's complete totalitarian.
100%. Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%.
No matter what you do.
I'm really curious to see where he goes with those themes. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mr. Ember Fairy, have you read the whole series? we're just getting started. So we're talking about the first half of book 1, but we just started this book club. And for anybody that's in chat, by the way, if you just type the word Discord and you want to join the Discord, you can join the book club. We're going to be going through all the books. So this is totally open invite. Anybody else that wants to join along with us is more than welcome. But so you get all the themes around.
Do you think Donut will turn around, because she seems like, really, like, she seems to love the entertainment factor, like, given her history that she's like a show cat, like,
That's her
and stuff.
That's her niche, but also her Achilles heel, I think. And there is a lot of conversation between, Carl is so not down for making games about this whole thing and playing the game, but he is also like, I'm just going to do what I can to get to the next day to try to survive. But he is very, very immediate to like try to hone Donut in, because he doesn't know how. She's so confident that she can play this game so well. And she's like, this is what I was born for. I'm a show cat, blah, blah, blah. But he's also like, we don't know what we're getting into. And this shit could get dangerous really quick and blow back on us. And the fact that she refuses to read instructions for anything before she just fucking does it.
Another aspect that I find really interesting to Donut is that, like, even, I think it was Odette, the talk show host, that said, like, she's kind of like a child still.
She definitely seems like it.
She's only, I think, 3 or 4.
Like a child.
As a cat. So and she's not an old cat per se.
Yeah, the fact that they had to like drug her to get her, before they went on the show, I thought was just really interesting. That was like an eye-opening thing for me. So.
Yeah. I do think that, it opens it up to more wacky shit to happen, but it creates balance, because it can't always be Carl yelling, "God damn it, Donut," and then Donut being like, like there has to be her moments to shine, and her intelligence is higher, her skill points are higher, her charisma is off the fucking charts, especially for like early levels. And so they're leaning into, well, where are those areas that are going to benefit her? And that's where like the to keep continuing the comparison, but like that's where like the Hunger Games of it all is, where she's PETA. Like she knows that she has to placate the audience and play it up to get the benefit of those things. She's also self-serving in that, though, that she loves the attention. Like she's obsessed about getting followers. So,
and I'm curious to see if she will like grow up a little bit throughout the books, if she will mature a little bit or come to some conclusions about things that, maybe she hadn't realized before.
I think I've already seen a couple of those moments.
Yeah, like at the end of part 1, like, she begrudgingly accepts to like, move with the other group, the group of the old folks, home.
Yeah, like there's a couple times where they had those conversations, and I'm starting to see it evolve already. So I think he's really like building out her character more. Mr. Ember Fairy, so I have actually finished book 1. We're trying not to get into part 2 today. I don't remember if the first reference of Ferdinand is in part 1 or not. We don't know who Ferdinand is yet, though. Donut's she brings it up like twice, like in passing, and Carl kind of has a moment where he's like, who the fuck is Ferdinand? And then it hasn't come back up. So we haven't learned who that character is just yet, or what role they play in what's going on. It's been very passing. What did you guys think of the bosses? Because if I'm remembering correctly, in the first half, there's all the shit that goes down with the goblin. There's the hoarder.
Yeah.
And then
really, really
Jim Bro in the first half as well? I don't remember if the muscle guy, Burrow Boss.
Remember.
Okay. Because there's also a Jim.
The hoarder was really sad. I actually went and translated what she was saying in Spanish.
It was messed up.
It was fucked up, man. Yeah.
And it was really sad.
Yeah. The fact that she's like in pain and asking for help and doesn't really understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But and this is, I think, the struggle that we're going to see happen multiple times in this series is like Carl is put up against, you have to do this to move on and survive. There's no talking your way out of the scenario. Granted, he doesn't speak Spanish, so he doesn't really understand the scope of like how fucked this is. But then not long after, he has the situation where he murders an entire room of goblin babies, and he knows exactly what the fuck happened there. Like, when Donut's like, oh yeah, like there was a bunch of babies in there. There was also some like pregnant ones and old ones. And he's like, what? Like he's fully reeling from, well, fuck, I had to kill the boss, but also that's not cool. But I do think that like he's balancing it out so far in a way of like, he's trying not to blame himself and he's really getting mad at the system. Like he's fucking pissed that he was put in this situation in the first place to even have to make that type of a decision. Like he's getting angrier by the page at this whole scenario. That's kind of what I'm picking up.
Yeah, I agree. I love the way that he kind of, as sort of a way to fight back against it in some ways, he picks up on all the explosive stuff. Like everything is getting blown up and like it's just I mean it's great the way, because that's really the only way that they have to fight back against some of this stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
what did you think about the swine ball? The swine ball boss.
Oh my god, I forgot about the pig ball.
That was so weird.
That was ridiculous.
So bizarre.
I can only imagine what that was like for you guys reading it, because even with the audiobook version of it, it's kind of hard to follow. It's hard to understand, like when they're giving it like, oh, it's in this part of the room and it's moving in this way. And it's like, I put 2 and 2 together pretty quickly, but even in the audiobook version, trying to like visualize it is really difficult. That one I did like, I felt like he gave up the twist a little too easily on that one though, because earlier on when he realizes that there's an exploit and his work tables are indestructible, I was like, oh, well, that's clearly going to get used in the next boss fight. And then insert next boss fight. And he immediately is like, bam, like magical shield. I was like, okay, all right, okay, get it. I almost felt like you didn't need to feed that to me, but that's a very minor like irk.
Did you start reading this before you played Elden Ring? Or because I feel like you're saying, oh my god, these bosses in Elden Ring, they're so weird, what the heck? And but like little, like, you know.
No, I think Elden Ring we started a little bit before I started the book. They kind of almost happened around the same time though.
I was gonna say, I just think it's funny how you're like saying Elden Ring, like these bosses are messed up, but then
they are.
I mean, I feel
what
like one here
fuck?
a little bit more though. I mean, like I don't know, but that's just my bias, I guess.
Yeah, it is really interesting, and I'm curious to see if how much the author is going to explain this through the story of clearly the hoarder was some form of a human at some point. And then the Gym Bro boss is also very much like a human that's been melded with like some type of a lizard creature. The swine people, you know, I think they're more like orcs, like an alien race, maybe not of humans, but they've clearly done something to either like snap up people and then have this happen, like innocent people that are just stuck in they don't know what's happening. Like they're not cognizant. But then Mordecai did make a comment about how that's only going to be a thing in the first couple levels. And as he gets deeper in the dungeon, the bosses are going to be more like truly evil people that are looking to cause harm and to do what they're going to do, which is going to make it easier on Carl's conscience because he knows these people are playing in the system willingly, you know? So it's interesting right now though, because it's giving him a lot of like ethical and moral dilemma around, I don't want to do this, but I don't really have a choice. Whether that's paying the daddy tax and squishing things with his shiny, pretty feet, or murdering goblin babies that were technically innocent and hadn't done anything. So kind of crazy.
He didn't even have to do that. Like, you know, the fact that like he could have just left without grabbing all that stuff. Yeah. So that even makes it, I feel like, worse. Like,
I think that's why he struggles. Yeah. I think that's why he's struggling so much with that moment, because he's like, I made a choice and it was not the right choice. But
I wonder if he'll meet the two later on, or like the rest of the goblins that did survive. Like,
Oh, I assume that there's enough of these books that like everything's gonna come back round. Okay. Maybe he won't run into Rory and Lorelai again, but I definitely feel like it's gonna happen again.
And Frank are still alive? Do we all? I think
no comment.
I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, no comment.
Well, there you go.
This is why I shouldn't read ahead.
I know.
I mean, it's fine. This is like spoiler, so.
I mean, they don't confirm it. Like when at the point you're at in the book, like they don't say that they're dead. They just.
But it hints. Yeah.
It leaves it kind of open for debate. But there were some interesting details during that fight that showed just how sharp Carl is. I think it was very easy early on to be like, oh, he's a 27-year-old meathead. Like, what's he know? But he's also an engineer, and he was also in the Coast Guard, and he's a very good strategist. Like, going back to his decision to blow up that room with the goblin, he knows that strategically that's the best choice. When they go to level 2, there are these slug bugs that don't really do anything in their current form, but they get a note from the AI that says when these get to their phase 2, like pupa phase, they turn into something that you're not going to want to fuck with. And so he makes the proactive choice to, like, every single one of these he finds, just obliterate them. Don't even give it a chance. He's not going to ignore it. He's not going to be like, oh, that's a problem for future Carl. He's very much a strategist in like, what are all the different angles and what's the way that's going to put me in the best position for the next phase. Like, he does mention, I think early in the game, like he's like, oh, I play D&D on occasion, but like you can tell he has that type of a working brain where it's like, it's gamified, but also him as a person is just like, he's very analytical and strategic, which is doing him a lot of good at surviving the dungeon. That and Donut's fucking chaotic good, you know? It's like, what a recipe. I love her though. In the very up until chapter 8, when at first I was like, oh my God, is she going to be a bitchy cat this whole time? But once she gets her attitude adjusted, she's fucking great. I love her.
100%.
Yeah,
I love her so much.
Going back to that like whole encounter. Oh, were you gonna say something, Kiv?
I was just gonna say one of my favorite characters, aside from like Carl and Donut, is Mordecai. Actually,
Mordecai's really interesting.
I really want to hear his backstory and what happened to his brother and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
I'm interested in that
how
too.
he got through the dungeon as far as he did.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried. Like I like Mordecai, but I'm just like, for some reason there's just something about him. I feel like he might betray them, but like he has no choice. But I don't know. Like I just get a weird feeling. I really like him too, but I'm just a little worried.
I don't pick up two-faced vibes from him. I do pick up that like he's played this game so many fucking times that he's just kind of downtrodden, and I don't think he has much hope for like an alternative. So I don't know how he's gonna behave if Carl comes to him and is like trying to have a side conversation about like, hey man, how do we take this system down? Like this is beyond fucked. Yeah. I don't see him betraying them, but I do see him struggling with like, I don't even know how I would begin to do that because the cards are so stacked against us. But I don't know. I guess that I'm also curious, like, how is Mordecai? Is the tutorial person there the entire time? Is it only there up to a certain floor? Like, what does that relationship look like for the long term? We don't know that yet, so I'm curious.
Did it say that he would be there through the entire dungeon? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
It does mention like mechanics and like the intricacies of like, you know, how this is set up, but I've forgotten if they've mentioned it before. But yeah, certain things as they progress deeper down the dungeon do change, but I can't remember if they mentioned anything about the training guild always being there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like this art that I found that somebody did.
Ooh.
Somebody drew Carl with Donut, and then it's a little bit of spoilers, the creature under their feet. So like eventually you do get like a pet choice. so I won't.
I thought she would be like a Persian cat. I don't know if they described like what type
She
of
is.
cat
She is a Persian.
cat.
So she's like a
Yeah,
smushed face Persian. So there's actually, it's funny. There is a Instagram account for an Irish Persian cat that the author of the book actually follows. And that cat literally is Donut. Like he said in an interview that Donut was based on a real cat. I don't think it's this particular cat, but that cat is exactly how he has defined her in the book and what she looks like for real. I want to say her name's like Amish or something. It's a weird, or Angie or something, but it's really interesting. But yeah, I really like this art because as you've read through the first book, like this ties into, well, in the first part, I would say most of this is stuff that's referenced, like his knee pads that he gets, that, you know, like when he smashes things, like they've got spikes and stuff. So he gets some buffs from that. His feet have like little sparkles on them because they're pristine. Because in one of those loot boxes, if you catch, he gets a enchanted pedicure kit. Because clearly the AI, this is when I was like, oh, okay, so the AI is definitely choosing what kinds of things they get in loot boxes, and it's not random. Because bro is like, keep those feetsies cute for daddy. Like, he's like, take care of them, and you'll get buffs and extra levels and all of that. So like, play into it. And I was like,
Oh, Mr. Emberfairy said third floor is the last for Mordecai.
Oh, does Mordecai say he's only there through the third floor? Okay. Well, and you know, I won't spoil anything about like the end of book one or anything, but book one does end right as they're going to enter the third floor. And third floor is the next book will be when we get to pick our race and our class. So we'll get to find out what kind of build these two choose. So this is definitely like tons of world building. Who are the players? Who are the different groups? What are their general vibes? And then third book, my understanding is also more world building. So I assume like we'll get deeper into the structure of the dungeon itself and all of the outside parties that are involved in this. Like there's no way we're not going to get more background on like Syndicate and the Kuatine and all these, the weird situation with like the mobs that are all like there but don't kind of want to be there, and like how did they become to be, and the notes that Mordecai mentioned also about like, oh well, the way the game is done is different depending on each group. Like one group likes to do a battle royale and the other group likes to do this dungeon style, and so like clearly there's a lot of different groups in this political situation outside of the dungeon. Like we talked about obviously the totalitarian and like fascist underlyings that are going on with the groups that we've seen so far, but there's clearly like very much like a late stage capitalism situation going on here too. Like there's a lot of commentary in a nebulous way right now about consumerism and all of the fights between these different groups for power at the cost and expense of those that they see lesser. So like there's like all these bigger themes and stories that are barely there right now that I'm really curious to see where this author goes with it. Because having that one of his books is called The Anarchist Cookbook, I was like, oh, shit's gonna get crazy in the best way. So but yeah, I can't wait for those of you that haven't finished book one to finish book one and to get started on book two, because it's so fun. The other one of my favorite lines that the AI said, and I won't remember the exact quote, but when he's opening a loot box and he gets the mana toast, and it was like, mana toast, it refills your mana, and it's also toast. And fuck you. The way he delivers that in the audiobook, he's like, I don't know what else to say about this. Fuck you. Like it's hilarious. The delivery is so good. It's so good. I think the webtoons that are out there are also all the way up through most of the first book so far. So those are going to trail like way behind. But if you want like a visual tied to the story, there are a bunch of webtoons out there. And
I think I
The
might check out the graphic novel. So the graphic novel is like
yeah,
word for word the book, or is it just like kind of the
I think it's
shorter
pretty
version of the?
close. I haven't looked too into it yet, but I think it's pretty close. The graphic novel is also going to trail quite a bit behind, like because the story's so far ahead right now.
Right.
The Jeff Hayes, the guy that does all the voices, he is the founder of an audio book radio play type company. It's called Sound Booth Theater, and so they're also doing a reread of the books with an actual cast. So he's not doing all the voices. Like every single person is a different actual actor, and then they added sound effects into it. So like when the big ball of swine is going by, like you can hear it rumble, and like it's more like an immersive radio play than a standard audiobook. But I believe that is only also like through the first book so far, so that's going to be a long time before they're caught up to where the current books are. But I think that's a really interesting take that they're going to go back. Anybody that's a Doctor Who fan, like there's a ton of additional canon that Doctor Who does through BBC in the form of radio stories. So that's a concept I'm pretty familiar with, even with like current media, because they do a lot of those types of stories to continue like the Doctor Who universe. With all the actors from the show, like David Tennant and Billy Piper and all that stuff, they come back and they do little side stories and stuff with that. So this is like a whole ass universe that's like getting built out, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Agatha's fuck ass. She definitely was annoying as shit during that fight where she just like rolled up and they're like, what are you doing in here? Also, we don't have a spot for you.
Do they find
also,
her later on? I don't care for spoilers, but do they find her, or are they like the rest of the book?
She's not dead.
Agatha?
I'll say that much. She ain't dead, but we also don't know a lot yet, and I think that she was a seeded character for some shit to go down in the future. But we don't really.
Oh.
We don't have any of that information at this time.
Okay.
You get like a nugget that reads into the bigger picture of like who are all these groups outside of the dungeon and how do they interact with each other and what is their part in, because like when people are getting like plucked out for interviews and stuff like that, like those are being their time is being bought by other entities. It's not all the Kuatine, they're just running the dungeon. So it's like a whole network of there's NBC and ABC and ESPN, and like there's all these different groups basically that have different interests, and so they're also making money off of this whole system. But then on the backside of it, behind the front of this being for entertainment purposes, there's a huge power play going on. Like they allude to it quite a bit, but there's clearly like a very strong like political and money like power play going on between these groups sociopolitically behind the whole thing. And I think that's the stuff that there's no way that these stories are going to stay contained to just a dungeon for the whole time. I don't think. I think we're going to get into the bigger like conversations, and he's clearly not afraid to pull some Game of Thrones shit and just kill some people off pretty quick. So
right.
I have a feeling we're going to be set up for some depressing moments in these books.
As long as they don't touch Donut. Leave Donut alone.
Nobody touched
Donut. I wonder
Donut.
if Frank and Maggie, I just wonder what their deal is. Like, I wonder if they're just terrible people, or maybe if they're like, maybe plants, or maybe like if they talk to a guild master, like, that's like the guild master's like nudging them to like, kill other crawlers, like, to kind of, as the villain. Like, this is kind of like a reality TV show. So maybe they're trying to be the villain, cause like some drama. And I wonder if they're ever going to be interviewed, or if they would interview them. But
I think
don't know. I just wonder what their deal is.
You'll get some of those answers when you finish the first half of the first book.
Okay.
So there's definitely some answers. I do think you bring up an interesting point that I haven't really thought about yet, but like who is everybody else's training guild person? Like none of them, we don't ever see them interact with each other. So like who are the other Mordecais? Is it always Mordecai in just different variations for different people, or
the group,
I don't think so.
Group does mention a guildmaster by a different name.
Yeah,
I think it says Ness, but
oh, okay.
Mention her name briefly, I think.
So yeah, I don't know the story of the other guides just yet. Like they haven't really come into play. So we'll see. No, that's just a good point of clarification, Ember Fairy, because I couldn't remember. I'm trying to think. So one thing that I did really poorly in preparation for this was like I didn't take any notes and I didn't think to like write down like certain questions and stuff that I had. So I'm gonna prep some of that stuff better for the second half of the book when we go to discuss that. I'm gonna figure out how to get chat overlay onto the screen so that for the VODs, anybody that's not here in voice but is also participating, we can see all of that. Oh yeah, Mordecai said that he's supposed to be free from his contract because this is supposed to be his last game. But I feel like all of that's bullshit. That's the nugget they sell everybody. Like, oh, if you just do one more, you know, you'll be fine. And then Mordecai does like very quickly tell Carl, whatever they offer you, if you make it to the later floors, don't take the first offer. Like he tells him very quickly, like you need to negotiate. If you make it as far as I made it or others have made it, what did he say? It's like floor 9 or 10 or something when they start offering you a deal similar to what they offered Mordecai of like, oh, we'll just come work for us. And then like after a certain period of time, you can have your freedom. The goblins were obviously sold a story like that too. That's clearly all a farce. Like they're not going to hold up their end of the deal, but what does that look like on the other side is interesting.
Or they do, but then there's something else. Like,
there's a twist. Yeah, there's going to be a twist. So, well, Mr. Ember Fairy, as far as timing, I think we're going to have some conversations in the Discord. So for anybody that is joining a little bit later, if you just type the word Discord in chat, you will get a link to join our Discord. And I have a dedicated channel in there called Book Club. You can just drop a little note in there, say hi. I'll give you the Book Club role so that if you're only interested in the Book Club conversations, you get pinged for the right stuff. But after... because I have regular stream here in a little bit. So after all of that, I will drop a note in there and we can have a general conversation around what do we think is good pacing for how often we check in to keep like talking. I gave everybody a little bit extra time because this is our first one. I wanted folks to know that we were even doing this book club, to have time to get their hands on the books and get started. But once we're into it, you know, I want to try to keep a consistent schedule as much as possible. So I want to talk to everybody and find out what time makes the most sense so that we can get the most people to participate in the conversation and come talk about this. Also, for anybody that's already in the book club channel, you are now free to discuss anything in part 1 in the Discord channel, add your memes, whatever you want to do. Just try not to spoil anything beyond where we're currently at with the sessions. But like once we have our session, if you want to have conversations outside of this in that channel, that's what it's there for. It's for everybody to chat and nerd out and you know, tell me what you think about it. But obviously we know that Adge is not a fan of this series. And Adge is probably not going to be continuing this series. I am definitely into it. And I'm definitely going to continue the series, but where is everybody else's head at? Like, are you excited to keep reading it? Are you kind of like, I don't know, I hope this gets better? Are you totally turned off by it? Like, where is everybody's temperature gauge on how they like where they've gotten so far?
I'm definitely interested and I do want to continue on. I'm just like interested, like, you know, I guess there are some mysteries in the book, like, you know, who's the syndicate, the Borant company or whatever it's called. I want to just find out more about that. Like, you know, and I really do think, you know, I think it's obvious that he's going to rebel against the system. So I just want to see how that goes.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm definitely dedicated. I do want to continue with the series.
Do you...
And in different mediums too.
Do you like enjoy the like the lit RPG aspect of it, of him basically being in like a Dungeons and Dragons scenario, or is like that aspect of it not that interesting to you?
I think it's interesting, but that aspect isn't really like what's keeping me like interested in the series. Yeah. It's just like, you know, the whole setup of it. Like, you know, what is this mysterious company that just all of a sudden came to Earth and like, you know, messed it up, and now like, you know, he finds himself in this strange world. I think that's, you know, the story is what's keeping me interested.
Yeah.
And then the RPG factors, I guess, are just like the little bonus because like I do like, you know, RPG games, and it's kind of nice, like, you know, how they do certain things, like the whole explanation of like at the beginning when they first entered this dungeon. Like, you know, it's very familiar. Like, we're familiar with that whole process, how, like, you know, you're bombarded with, like, you know, intro quests and, like, you know, how things work, and you just want to, like, you know, do the thing.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
stuff like that is just like a little treat. But I'm just kind of more interested in the story.
Okay. What about you, Kiv?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to finish the whole series. I'm really looking forward to see what happens and everything. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pace myself. I might have to read ahead. I'm
I
not
think I'm
sure.
gonna speed up the pace. Like in my ideally, I need to go look and see how big all the other books are. I know that some of the future books are quite a bit bigger than the first book, but I think doing each book in halves, but maybe chatting like every other week is a decent pace. That's where my head's at, is like if we can check in every 2 weeks, maybe that'll work out okay. But
I think that's a good idea if we are able to meet frequently, like, you know, relatively frequently,
that's
like
my
2 weeks.
plan. Yeah,
Like, it's
that's what
gonna
I'd
be
like
like
to
a
see.
month.
I
I feel like
agree.
maybe we should just read the whole
No. Yeah, a month is too much, and I would definitely do full books if it was that, but I feel like I'd forget half of what I listened to by then. So like every 2
Oh,
weeks I think gives enough time, because there are some
how's your
holidays
ear feeling,
coming
by
up
the
and
way?
stuff as
I
well.
just realized.
What?
How's your ear, by the way?
She says
I just,
what?
Huh?
I don't know. I just your.
So for anybody that doesn't know, I currently have a ruptured eardrum. I had
Oh my god.
a very acute middle ear infection that sent me to the hospital. It was super fun.
Oh my god.
And the pressure from the infection, because the initial meds weren't working, caused my right eardrum to perforate. So mostly the pain is gone now. The biggest issue now is that everything sounds like it's in a bowl in this
Oh
ear.
my god.
I haven't lost any here. I'm not like deaf in this ear or anything, because apparently you can still hear without an eardrum, but everything sounds like a muffly, kind of like the teachers and Peanuts a little bit. And that exactly, and that can take a couple weeks to a couple months to fully heal, depending on how bad the rupture is. I did not have any success finding an ENT. I called everybody in town, and there's no openings until like November. Pretty typical in Vegas. Healthcare here is pretty much impossible to access if you need a specialist. So
That's typical everywhere, though.
yeah, I mean, when I lived in San Diego, I was able to see an ENT the same week. I actually had an issue where I like lost hearing in my left ear back in 2018, and it took a couple months for us to actually confirm what I thought all along was that I had some type of an ear infection that was the problem. But like I just like woke up one day and couldn't hear out of my left ear, and I was like, I need to see an ENT, and I was able to get in and see somebody like immediately. I always had great access to medical when I needed it in San Diego. Nevada is notorious for even below standard access to healthcare. We had they changed some laws here around like 2000, 2001 around how malpractice works, and it caused a lot of professionals and specialists to move their practices to either Utah or California as a result. So we lost a ton of talent here, and then they don't pay shit for healthcare out here, so we can't get new talent in either. So that's kind of an uphill battle, but yeah, it's okay though.
There's always something. I feel so bad.
I know, dude. I can't like catch a break. I don't understand. Like, it's wild. I had to sit down, and the doctors asked, they were like, okay, like, have you had any surgical procedures or hospitalizations in the last 5 to 10 years? And I was like, how much time do you have? Because that's a long conversation. Thank you for the follow. And I actually had to sit down, and I was like, I should write these down because I have to try to remember it every time. And I was like, okay, let me write it down. And then I looked at it and I was like, damn, I'm gonna have a lot of problems. When I went to go see my GP yesterday, he goes, you have compounding conditions. And I was like, I guess that's a way to put it. But I was like, can we just figure out what's at the core of this? I would not be surprised if okay, well, thank you for that, AutoMod. Sorry, we're getting some weird messages in chat. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point I find out that I have some type of like a immunocompromise, like an underlying condition, because the weird thing is like I never get like just a cold. Like if I get sick, you're going to be in the hospital sick. It's the weirdest thing. But I don't know. That's just like, shitty genetics or something, I guess. But
well, I'm glad you're doing fine at least.
I'm glad I'm getting the sickness out of the way now so that I can enjoy San Diego Comic-Con that is coming up in exactly 1 month. So, yay!
Right.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we want to talk about from the first half of the first book?
So did he say that he's going to go to the monk class when he gets to level 3, or like
I don't think he's decided. The only thing he has said so far is that he doesn't want to change, like he wants to stay human.
Yeah.
And Donut wants him to become a cat. So
yeah.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I kind of wonder. I guess it was touched upon. Like, well, it was not touched, but it was like they kind of go into like a little more detail about how she has like that persuasion factor, or her I just
her
wonder how
charisma
that's
is so high.
Her
Yeah.
charisma, yes, that she was able to like just persuade Lorelai and Rory to get them the stuff. So I just thought that was kind of interesting, and I wonder how far that'll get her. And I'm excited to see more.
Yeah, and I do find it hilarious, and I'm really curious how it's going to come back to bite her in the ass, because it will. The fact that every time she gets a new shiny in a loot box, she just immediately is like, yes. She's like, fairy necklace? Yes. Tiara? Yes. Glasses? Yes. Like, she just puts them on, and Mordecai's like, read the fucking description before you equip that shit. And the very first thing, she puts on that tiara of the sepsis queen or whatever the fuck, and it immediately is like sepsis whore. That's what it is. Yeah, and it's like, hey, when you get to the 9th floor, you gotta do some shit now, because like it's setting them up for future challenges. Yeah, but
you had to kill the entire sultanate of something or other.
They're just like, by the way, you gotta go kill an entire family before you can move to the next floor. And she's just like, YOLO. She does not give a shit.
There are those like a bunch of like lingering, I guess, things that we need to like keep an eye on now too, because like his fists apparently like he can't hit like horses or something, or else like it'll become a deity or something.
Yeah.
And then
oh my god, and I totally forgot about Bad Llama.
Bad Llama.
Bad Llama. So when they go to talk to the goblins and everything, before that they found that llama that was
with the meth?
Yeah, with the meth. Yes. And that's when they told the goblins, like, by the way, the llama, like, he's like, did we just start a meth war between the goblins and the llamas?
That was great.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's the first, like, one of the first really goofy things that popped up, and I was like, all right, this is hilarious. Like, I'm totally here for this. Duplex, you should read the book with us. The audiobook is amazing. Seriously, it's so good. But also Straz and Ember Fairy, I know you guys are both talking about how you're further along than we are and everything, and you guys are like going through the books. Please join the book club channel. Like, I'm very happy to talk about the book and everything, and we'll get caught up. Like, we're gonna go to faster pace going forward, so we'll all get on the same page. And I'm hoping that this becomes a regular thing that folks in the community enjoy, and we can do together. And once we get through Dungeon Crawler Carl, we'll find the next thing, and we'll read something. I wanted to motivate myself to actually like read more stuff, because there's a lot of things that come out that I'm interested in, and then I just never actually read the thing. Stellar over here has like a whole ass library, so Stellar is well read.
I want to do that too. That's why I wanted to join a book club, because like I feel like when I was younger I definitely read more. As I've gotten older, my attention span has definitely like just deteriorated. So like I don't have time to read, and I just don't have the attention anymore. Yeah. Even though I have like this like mini library in my room. But it's like, I don't know. I definitely want to read more. And I definitely do feel like a book club does kind of hold me accountable to do that. So that's another reason why I wanted to join a book club.
Got it.
Yeah, that's a good reason. I go through phases. Sometimes I'm reading like all the time, and I devour like book after book after book, and then I take a break and I don't read for a while. And so I'm kind of in a lull right now. So this is nice to get back into reading.
The last thing that and I'm saying read because some people are very touchy about like, oh, if it's an audiobook, it's not reading, like whatever. The last thing I consumed, I have all the Sandman graphic novels, and so they did like A-list actors and read through all the Sandman novels and stuff, and so I read along because it's verbatim like in the graphic novel along with it with the voice acting and stuff, because I hadn't revisited those books in probably over a decade, and like that was really cool. But then all that shit came out about Neil Gaiman, and I was like, well, I guess I'm done with this. So I had to put those books away, and I was like, well, I don't really have like the other thing I had lined up that I just can't seem to get over the hump to get into is I have all of the Andy Serkis audiobooks for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, because I've never actually read those. And I've watched the movies a million times, but I feel like I probably need to do that audiobook style, because I think reading it with all of the unique lore that's in it, I'm going to have a really hard time absorbing it all. So
that might make it easier, because I've never read the books either, but I've always wanted to. I actually bought like some special editions of them. But the thing is, I heard like he's so descriptive, like Tolkien, and like it can be a lot. Like it can be kind of pretty tedious.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to read them too.
Good. They're so good, you guys. Even if it's audiobook, like do it. It's so good.
Wheel of Time was another one that I had on my list, Cash. Soldier Ron, who used to be a regular here in the community. I don't think he really plays ESO anymore, so he kind of floats around and does other stuff now. But back when the TV show first dropped for Wheel of Time, he was talking about how it was one of his absolute favorite book series. And obviously they killed that show right as it was like at this massive peak. And I was really enjoying the story of the show. Like I liked the universe and the characters and the whole concept. And I don't always go that direction of like high fantasy, but that specific storyline, I really, really liked it. So like there's lots of different things that I think I have interest of. I do like doing things that are like a series where there's like multiple books that we can all go through, but we'll kind of figure it out as we go. But I just want right now, I'm not going to shut up and stop talking about it. That I want to just let people know that we're doing this so that we can get more folks into the channel, and then we can start having conversations about like what we want to read and talk about and nerd out about and make our entire personality, because I'm about to go buy a ton of Dungeon Crawler Carl shit at Comic-Con, and you're all going to be sick of me. So
oh my God.
Do it.
What do you want to call the book club? You mentioned that.
Oh yeah, we need a name. Bastion, I need a name. We need a name for the book club. And at first I was thinking something around like Desperado Club, which is a reference in the book that you'll hear first in the second half of the first book. But I don't think I want it to be specific Dungeon Crawler Carl theme, because I do want to like go outside of that in the future. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Open concept.
Coming up with the name is hard. I feel like
I know.
I don't know, maybe we got sessions.
I do
and
like
then maybe something will come up.
I do like alliteration.
Okay.
Everybody likes alliteration. And the other reason that I wanted to come up with a name for the club is because I am gonna no promises, because I am not a video editor in any way, shape, or form. But I did want to try to do these as separate VODs and then upload them to YouTube onto a playlist, so that as we kind of like get this format dialed in and stuff, if folks do want to go back and reference something, they can find it on the YouTube. The YouTubes. What was the other? I grabbed another picture I was going to show you guys. Oh yeah, this one. I really liked this one. And I think the AI would particularly like this one because of how prominent the feet are. Photo. I'm not going to get like Twitch terms of service, am I? For Carl's feet. What were you saying, Sailor?
It looks like she has glasses, which I love.
Yeah, so that's another item that she gets out of a loot box eventually. Of course. She's like, just doop. She's here for it. And for anybody that's like curious, like, so this is an actual like approved by the author, but like this is what Donut
That's what she looks like.
Yes.
Yeah,
I pinned it in chat, by the way, and you got to be careful because you can easily stumble into spoiler territory, but there is a really vast wiki online. So if you are curious and you're like, I don't really understand how that's being described in the book, or I want to know how like fans have drawn it, there's tons of fan art on there, or as you start getting into the nuances of like the Syndicate, and you're like, wait, who are all the groups and who's doing what? If you need a reference point, somebody built an amazing wiki. And so that's the pinned link that I have in chat. I will pin it in the book club channel as well for folks, but I've actually used that a couple times now to just go look up something that I was curious about. You just got to be careful what links you click because you could easily jump ahead in the series and then read something and spoil it for yourself. So just keep that in mind. But that's Donut. That's our sassy queen. She's so sassy. I just love her confidence.
I'm excited to see her character develop. I feel like, she's already kind of grown a bit, like, kind of what we were talking about earlier. But I'm definitely here for Princess Donut. So.
Yeah, I'm loving Donut. I'm curious if the AI is gonna change. Like, I just feel like there's more to the dungeon AI that's running everything, and I don't really know, we don't know yet, like, is it making its own decisions truly, like, of its own, like, not being influenced from an outside group, or is there somebody else that is controlling the AI and then like molding it to like do the things that it does? Because it is, I don't know if it comes through as much when you read it analog, but like the audiobook, like he's very snarky and he's very like snappy with like the way he's speaking. It's not like monotone computer voice. This is level 4. Like he sounds more like a game show host. He's like, new achievement. He gets like very excitable. So he feels like it's its own persona, so I'm curious to see where that goes.
It just mentions like, it'll say like a game show host voice, like, so very peppy and stuff like that. And then I think towards the end, like the most recent one before part 2, it mentioned like in the voice of like David Attenborough and stuff like that. So that's how I've kind of been reading it. I think
I missed that.
Or maybe I just mentioned that. But that's kind of how I've been reading it. Kind of like, but that would be cool if it kind of becomes like a rogue AI maybe. And maybe it helps Carl. But yeah, that's kind of a good idea. Like, is it independent of like the Syndicate or something, or does the Syndicate just feed it,
like is there influence, or how do all those pieces tie in together? I'm really curious about the I think the last thing I want to mention too, and I don't remember if this is stated as a fact or if it's just a theory, that like when Carl's first talking to Mordecai, he mentions that like, oh, there's other human races that have also been in these games before from other human planets. And it starts this whole either inner dialogue or conversation with Mordecai about, what do you mean there's other humans? And he's like, they're seeded. Like this was all planned thousands of years ago, and the humans were seeded on the planet, and then they just kind of let them become whatever they become, and then they watch them and learn their culture, and that's how they like form the dungeon around it and stuff. But I am really curious around, so does that mean that like all human planets were only ever created for this end game purpose, and they're just a crop, as well as other species and races, like, or is that just the prevalent theory and they don't really know which one it is? It felt like that's all by design, that's
what I was getting at.
Yeah, which is like a even more fucked up concept, that like these are sentient creatures and they were all just ever created for the game. And like that, in the beginning they kill 7 billion plus people instantly. What the fuck? Like, and that's then, just,
I mean,
what?
Yeah.
It's on par though. I mean, the logo seems to be kill, kill, kill. Like, during like that announcements, like, like the last thing is like, kill, kill,
it's true.
Kill. So
yeah, but it definitely speaks to like the more like the darker sides of, I guess, human nature, but from a non-human perspective. But the author is definitely not ever the optimist. Like
That kind of reminds me of the beginning. Remember, like when they first saw the show, how they were like, showing the Earth and like kind of all the like the worst aspects of the world of the world.
yeah.
That was
They're
kind of interesting.
curating it for their audience. Like they
Yeah.
don't want you. And that's a commentary on what happens in our media today. Like when all of the ICE protests are going on, like they're going to find the 2 or 3 people being extra aggressive and the 2 or 3 people that are, throwing the tear gas canister back at police, or, like they're going to try to personify it in the media to make one group look like they're innocent and one group look like they're not, when the nuance of all of that in the reality is just like everything's kind of a soup. There are shades of gray to most situations, and if you weren't there, then what you're being fed is only ever going to be a partial story. And
For
how
sure.
that's all kind of, mass media like chops those things up and how they feed it to their audience. And then on top of that, it's very much like the algorithm and like how social media caters it and how it wants to keep your attention and feed you a certain story. And then on top of it, you've got the fucking Nazi fish. And they're like, we don't want anybody to think that we're Nazi fish. So you can't ever say that we're Nazi fish. Like you can't, all of it is the system. It's the Truman Show. Like it's all keeping it in a very specific defined box. And if you go outside the lines of that box, then there's going to be repercussions.
Mhm.
One thing that they didn't show, and I don't know, maybe they will later down the road, but I don't know if it was just me, but I just felt like the reaction to the enormity of what happened was a little not as extreme as I would have thought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the whole world has literally just been destroyed.
Yeah.
But everybody kind of picked up and went into the dungeon and we're doing this thing. And it's like, there has to be people out there who are completely traumatized, who couldn't
I think it's
Everyone's
kind of
control.
traumatized.
touched
Yeah.
upon, like
Yeah.
very briefly, when Carl's like the adrenaline rush of just what had happened had
Yeah.
just kept them going. It was kind of like a fight or flight, situation, and he's just
Yeah.
like put into this like new
Yeah.
world, and he needs to survive. And then like I think it was like the end of the first day where he like starts kind of think back on that, and like but he's just so exhausted that like he
It's
just really doesn't have time to
it's
dwell on the
happened like
past.
2 or 3 times that I can think of where he's in the middle of a situation because there's not really much time to like sit and calibrate. You are
Hmm.
always trying to like get to the next step. But there's been 2 or 3 times now where he has that moment of just being like washed over with grief of like, fuck, dude. Every time he sees the number, every time they go into
Yeah.
a safe space and he sees the
Yes, that is
number,
true.
that's his litmus test of like, what the fuck, dude? Like there was an entire globe worth of people not even 24 hours before, and now there's like he has this overwhelming dread. But it
Yes.
is interesting because the author's kind of accurate though, in that a lot of people when they go through those scenarios, they go into survival mode. Like you're in fight or flight mode, and so you don't get the time to breathe and process the weight of everything that happened. Like for those of us olds, when 9/11 happened, like that's a unique experience that you'll never have again. Like anybody that's ever lived in a war-torn country where like something absolutely just astounding and horrible has happened, you don't process it all right there in the minute. You can't. Like shock can
Hmm.
go on for a long, long, long time. And then something years later will trigger it and you'll have like a very open moment of reconnecting to like what you were processing during that time. So there is like a little bit of accuracy in my opinion of like how the author kind of is like, we're going to throw so much shit at you that you're going to be completely overstimulated and overwhelmed as a crawler in the dungeon. And they're not going to give them enough time to like really absorb the weight of what just happened. And it's like
Hmm.
it's like trying
Yeah,
to
I
fathom the
agree.
difference between a million and a billion. Like a billion's more than a million, but if you really sit and think about just how much more that is, you kind of have that moment of
Yeah,
like,
it's insane.
whoa.
I
Like,
guess I guess what I would have liked to see, because I know what you're saying, I totally get that, but
mm-hmm.
I would like to see some of the, and not that I want to see this, but like, you know, it would be interesting to see like some of the people who literally just noped out.
I mean, we
Like
might.
they could not process. Like
Yeah.
they just literally could not process and could
Yeah.
not continue.
I feel like that
And
would be me. I
you
don't think
know,
I could have done it.
I don't
Yeah.
know that I could have either. Like,
Oh, my ass
I'd
would
be
have
like,
been
no,
dead
nope.
in like 2 hours in that dungeon. A goblin would have shoved a pineapple at my backside and I would have died.
Yeah.
pineapple. Oh,
The
another thing that Carl keeps saying too, kind of to your point, Lolly, is he keeps repeating to himself, "They're not going to break me. They're not
that's
going
his
to break
mantra.
me."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting. That
I think that speaks to how fragile he is, because he has to keep telling himself that because he's on the edge. Like, I think he's,
yeah,
and that's the vibe I'm picking up, is that is turning into anger. Like he is becoming rageful back at the system, but also trying to keep his composure externally, because he can't show his cards. He can't show how much he's trying to calculate, like, where are the cracks that I can exploit to figure, like, not just to survive the dungeon, but like he wants to know more. Like, what is the
yeah, to
bigger
figure it out
conversation? What is happening? Who are the players? And is there a way out of this?
before he completely cracks.
Yeah. And I do think the author gave himself a little bit of a leeway with that first group of survivors that we meet. They're all folks from an elderly home. And so most of them are in some state of dementia, or they're not really all there. And so he doesn't really have to address the weight of everything that just happened and those people processing it, because a lot of the older folks are, not fully aware of what's going on. And the people taking care of them, those are healthcare workers. Those are people that are masters of compartmentalizing and saying, this is the thing I need to worry about right now because this is the next step, and not letting the emotional weight and toil of everything going on. So I think that was an intentional choice, because it makes it so that he doesn't have to address that conversation that early on in the first book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I there's got to be, like, there's no way that we're not going to run into more and more crawlers. Mm-hmm. Eventually, he's going to start running into people from other parts of the globe, because, like, as the group gets smaller, they're all going to start crossing over more.
Yeah, the interaction should be interesting, because, like, they mentioned, like, there's a bunch of other bigger groups that seem to be on the other side of the world mainly.
And the chick with the dogs.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah. What did you guys think of, like, the chick with the dogs?
I forgot about Lucia Marr.
Awesome.
Yes. I can't wait to figure. That feels like some Walking Dead shit. Like, I want to know.
Yes.
I want to know.
I feel so bad for her, though. I mean, I'm glad she's surviving, but isn't she only like 13 years old?
Yeah,
like,
but her clips, they always personify her as being just fucking brutal. So I'm like, is she? I don't think she's a scared little girl. I think she's out here.
You can definitely
kick names and, chew bubblegum and whatever that line is. But I'm really curious, because there's only a matter of time before they cross paths. Like, they're gonna have to. And Donut hating dogs as much as she does, I feel like that's gonna be just a recipe for shenanigans. So yeah, I don't know how soon that's gonna happen, but they've mentioned her quite a few times already, even more so in the second half of the book, but they haven't crossed paths yet. So that's definitely, like, there's no way she's not gonna be an integral character, at least in the next book, because they've mentioned her so many times. Like, why go through all the trouble if you're not going to pull her into the story? So, but I don't know. This could be like some One Piece shit where Oda mentions a character in episode 4 and it doesn't get referenced again until episode 816. And it's the most pivotal character in the whole story that you forgot about 6 years ago. So, like, it all depends. I don't see that happening with Dinniman being a quote unquote pantser and the way he writes, but I won't put anything past somebody that has enough content to build an 8 to 10 book series. Like, there's gonna be some callbacks for sure. But anything else that anybody wants to chat about before we probably wrap this up? And then I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then I'll be back shortly for regular stream.
I hope that the old folks like they do make it to level 3 and they can maybe choose a class and then maybe they can kind of participate more because I just feel bad. Like I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
poor
you know
guys.
what? That's
I
an
know, that's
interesting
heartbreaking
concept. Like,
too.
if they choose a specific race and class, does it fix the fact that they have old, feeble bodies? And then they can
Maybe.
actually like actively participate. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think Brandon was kind of mentioning that, so I'm like, I'm hoping
Yeah, yeah.
he's right, but I guess we'll wait. We'll see.
I don't know. I'm shocked they've made it this far.
Me too. I'm like, what?
I'm like, what?
It's like 30 of them, I think, or something. But
yeah,
we'll
and like
see.
that number is just gonna it can only go one direction, so it's shit's gonna get wild. But I was like, this
'Cause, I mean,
dungeon
the
is
dungeon might not
brutal,
even kill
so
them. It might just be they might pass away due to old age.
I don't
So
know, because they all got old feet, so I don't think the AI is gonna save them.
yeah,
they gotta have nice young preppy feet for the AI to save them.
maybe the AI likes old wrinkly
I
feet though,
mean, you never know.
as well as young smooth feet.
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Who knows? Never in my life have I discussed foot fetish more than I have in the last 2 hours. So,
Same.
well, cool.
Same.
We're just under 2 hours. That was really good conversation though. It's fun to like chat about all of this. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this here, and I'm going to end stream. I'm just going to take like a quick stretch break and everything, and then I'll restart stream, and we're going to be doing Elden Ring tonight. And then once I get a chance to put this over, I will publish this on the YouTube channel and put the links and stuff in chat as well, so that if anybody did miss our live stream today, and if you missed the VOD on Twitch, because it's not there forever, you can still access it on the YouTube. And yeah, please, exclamation Discord, come join us in the Discord, join the book club, come read along with us. We're very, very early on in the series, so you can absolutely catch up, especially even more so if you choose to do the audiobooks, because you can just put them on while you're doing whatever, So yeah, I will also be reaching out in the channel so that we can figure out timing for the next conversation for the back half of the first book, and then going from there. So yeah, more to come. But thank you guys for joining in chat and in voice. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for starting the book club. Like I said, I'm really
Yeah.
excited about it. I really am looking forward to once we finish Crawler Carl to maybe do other series, because like I said, it holds you accountable if you're in a book
for
club
sure.
So
Yeah, thank you, Lolly.
All right. Well, perfect. I have to go take all the Dungeon Crawler Carl stuff off my overlay now too. So, all right. Well, this is it for episode 1 of the book club, and I will see you guys all shortly for regular stream. Bye, everybody.
yay, Elden Ring.